Hello everyone and welcome to the Smokey Scale, a series where I review things not seriously. In this episode, I am taking a look at Minecraft's Wild update, which released in May 2022. I'll be giving feedback and criticism towards the content in this new update, and just like the Minecraft Dungeons review, there will be a final section dedicated to a certain part of this update that I really don't like. Anyways, let's get started. Starting off with the main content of the Wild update, first is the Deep Dark. The Deep Dark was a new cave biome revealed back in Minecraft Live 2020 and was meant to be a part of the Caves and Cliffs update before it was split. A lot of the new content of the Deep Dark that we've seen in this update, however, was never revealed initially in the first place and only came to fruition with the delay. What I'm talking about here is mostly to do with the ancient city structure, which is one of Minecraft's biggest structures yet, and includes new unique items such as Disc 5, the Recovery Compass, and Echo Shards, an item which will probably receive more uses in future updates. Among the new loot comes easier ways to get good loot, such as enchanted golden apples, which are super rare. Overall, the new content that has arrived with the Deep Dark is really good and fleshed out. However, I think there could be more things done with the Echo Shards and Skulk as a whole, as it is an interesting concept. Perhaps creating a new tool that can aid the player using the shards, such as a hookshot which can help you escape the warden faster, or maybe making a new item using echo shards that you can use to upgrade your tools and armor, similar to netherite. However, I can't forget, the Deep Dark also has its own new mob called the Warden. This mob is really cool and is a breath of fresh air compared to all the new mobs Minecraft has implemented in recent updates. However, before the third pre-release of the update, it was really easy to cheese the Warden with the simplest of enchants. I will say that if you have the advantage of having a max protection enchant on your armor, the Warden shouldn't be made stronger to accommodate with that, as not everyone is a veteran player, and in the end it will be really unfair to people who work to get those upgrades. However, I think that could be mitigated by introducing a new enchantment called Sound Protection, which would protect you against sound type attacks and could be something you could find in an endgame context such as a new structure in the end. I do hope the concept of sound-based mobs is iterated on in future updates, as it is proving really interesting with the Warden, perhaps introducing new mobs that are related to the Skulk family of blocks, or maybe a new variant of the Deep Dark biome where peaceful mobs stay. There could be lots of lore intertwined with the Deep Dark and Warden, and I feel like a new dimension is somewhat possible given the unique structure in the middle of each ancient city. Overall, the Deep Dark gets a 4 out of 5 on the Smokey Scale. The new content offered is wildly different from anything we've seen in the game, and introduces a lot of new concepts into the game as well. However, when it comes to things like loot and echo shards, I think it falls short of providing enough substance to make it worth going to the ancient cities in the first place. The second biggest point of the Wild update is the Mangrove Swamp biome, a biome which was initially revealed through the 2019 biome vote in Minecraft Live, and came with a new item called a boat with chest, which was basically the boat equivalent of the minecart with chest item. A new mob called the frogs, and of course the new mangrove tree, which would be added into the default swamp biome. Of course, what we got in the end was good, but fell short of the original purpose. Instead of updating the original biome at all, besides updating the spawns to include frogs, what we got was a completely new biome called Mangrove Swamps, which has a new water color, a lush canopy all over the biome filled to the brim with mangrove trees, mud blocks which weren't revealed until Minecraft Live 2021, and wasn't a part of the biome vote's promises. While I love how the Mangrove Swamp looks and everything that it introduces, it does feel bad considering that the regular swamp biome was not updated at all to accommodate the new trees or even mud blobs anywhere. It is a bit disappointing, but putting it aside, it's still a great addition to the game overall. The Mangrove Swamps gets a 3 out of 5, as it feels like much more could be done to improve its concepts. The swamp biome hasn't been updated besides a new addition to mob spawning. A witch hunt variant made out of mangrove could have been made to accommodate the new swamp variant, and would have given the players an idea of what the new mangrove items look like if they ever found one. Overall, the biome could have been handled a lot better, but it's still a good addition. The Allays was a mob, which is a part of the mob vote during Minecraft Live 2021, which won with a very slight higher score than the Copper Golem. It was said that it would basically bring over items to wherever a jukebox is playing and drop the item it is carrying. As well, you can have unlimited control of what item it can pick up, and it will pick up any item that may be on the ground corresponding to what it is already holding. It's a neat mob, but what is it really good for? In terms of gameplay, this could potentially act as a different method of item sorting. However, the Allay can only pick up a certain amount of items, and modern item sorters are way faster and more efficient than anything the Allay accomplishes. I do think it is a fun mob, and contributes well to the world and lore of Minecraft, as it is essentially a non-evil Vex, and that theory is further pushed by the fact that you could find it in cages in the Woodland Mansion and pillager outpost structures. I don't think it necessarily adds much of anything to the game though, and for that I'm giving the Allay a 2.5 out of 5. It's just not for me. Anyways, that's pretty much sums up all the gameplay of this update. Next up is the music. In the Wild update, we got 4 new tracks, one of which is a new disc track called Disc 5, a new creepy track that can be crafted from disc fragments found in the ancient city structure. As usual, the music is composed by Lena Rain, most popular for creating Celeste, and the only exception is Samuel Aberg, who composed Disc 5. He is the lead sound designer for Minecraft, but he has also helped create some of the music found in the base game of Minecraft Dungeons. Overall, the new music is very atmospheric and as always is really nice to listen to. The music of the Wild update receives a 5 out of 5. Cuts and more cuts. What could that possibly mean? Well, it's basically a fancy way of saying cut content, and that's what this section of the review is all about. You see, initially, the Wild update was meant to bring some revamps to certain biomes in the game and give them more of a unique atmosphere. The biggest example of this shown was concept art of the new birch forest, which featured taller and somewhat different trees, alongside lots of new greenery that we don't have in the game. And it's truly sad to see, because I was really excited to see the outcome of the biome updates done, especially since the mangrove swamps were being added. However, I think this all comes down to a little bit of poor communication in between Mojang and the community. It took up until earlier in May 2022 for them to talk about the biome revamps being cut from the game. That is a whole 5 to 6 months of not talking about those talked about features, and I truly can't find anything from developers during that time talking about it either. Another thing we actually saw gameplay footage of were the fireflies, a new mob said to be the food of the frogs. However, little did we know was that they would just not add it into the update based on feedback they got on how fireflies are actually poisonous to frogs. So what we got was frogs eating magma cubes instead. I don't get it, but whatever. I do hope that we see these features return after they're done catching up on all of the caves and cliffs, and I'm more excited right now to see where archaeology is than the biome revamps. And I'm hopeful that archaeology has gotten a big glow up like the Deep Dark did with this update. Overall, this brings what the overall Smokey Scale scoring of the Wild update down by 10%. Let's take a look at the final score. The Wild update is an interesting update, as it adds content to the game that doesn't really fit with each other at all. And unlike others, I do think the name fits with this update in a way. So putting the Wild update on the Smokey Scale, I'm giving it a decent 60%, as it does have a lot of issues in regarding what was initially planned, and how fleshed out certain content is, especially with Allays and Echo Shards. It is not a bad update at all, and I think it is taking a good step with what they are probably trying to do with the initial Caves and Cliffs features. I'm hopeful that the next update is better. Anyways, that's about it. See ya.